Hey everyone, Timmy Chuck here. Hope you're doing well in the face of everything that's going on right now. Keeping your heads above water. We've been in lockdown for a week, and our kids are here. Our three kids. It's a noisy household, but we're trying to make the most of this current situation and just kind of keeping our eyes on the changes that are happening. It seems on a minute-to-minute basis. So I just wanted to. I'm going to be putting out more of these videos. Just share some of my thinking around. A lot of you guys probably have PTSD from the last 2008 recession, and for those of us that survive situations like that, really the plus side is it makes us stronger, and we have to kind of look at it that way. So I just wanted to share a lot of the principles that we've implemented, for my own businesses as well as for our clients, just to kind of help you make some good decisions, so you can hopefully weather this storm that we're going through together as entrepreneurs and as business owners. So a lot of my background for those of you that don't know is lean, which is all around the systematic elimination of waste in your business, right? So how can we increase and improve your bottom line by just relentlessly attacking all of the waste within your business? And a couple illustrations behind me. This is a lean term is the value stream. So all of the green is value, the red is waste. And the way that we like to look at waste within your organization is all the things. Pretend that your customer was following you around with a camera. And what are the things that you do within your business, from sales to marketing, to your operations? What are the things that your customer would actually pay you for versus what are the things that are wasteful? So in other words, the essential versus non-essential. And so this is what you ultimately, the name of the game, and it's a marathon, not a sprint, throughout your business, is just to constantly be identifying and looking at your business, your processes end to end, and identifying, okay, what's the value add versus the non-value add, and just attacking that waste and eliminating it, by making work easy for your employees, helping them to be more efficient, eliminating redundancy, leveraging things like automation. So stuff like that. But that is kind of the nature of what lean is. And when you practice this philosophy and you implement it as kind of a habit within your business, you can't help but make things more recession proof, right? Because you're going to have more to work with. So I just want to share some best practices for you to kind of wrap your head around this philosophy, this lean philosophy, and things that you can start to implement like immediately. And these are timeless principles that I want to share with you. So first and foremost, the analogy that I want to share with you is viewing your business as its own separate entity from yourself. So your business it's like a living, breathing entity, and it's got certain needs and requirements that they don't have. They don't have an opinion. It just is what it is. So, for example, if you don't bring in enough cash to pay your overhead in a long enough time span, you're going to go out of business. That's a fact. It has nothing to do with you. It's like physics, right? It's just like gravity. So when you understand and you think about your business as its own like separate entity, a good way to think about it is just like a human body. What are all the things that have to be in place in order for a human body to thrive and exist and survive? We need things like oxygen. We need things like blood to be pumping and all the things that need to happen in order for our system to behave in a healthy manner. And when we go and see the doctor will often, they'll be assessing your symptoms and everything, but they'll be taking some measurements of all of your subsystems in your body to ensure that you're healthy. And where you get numbers that are out of whack, that's where they're going to drill down and get you back into health, back into KPI. So things like your blood pressure, your heart rate, your temperature, things like that. So you want to be able to have the same KPI set up within your own business, and you look at your business just in the same way that the doctors do. All of the functions within your business are the same as subsystems in the human body. And so when you understand this analogy, let's just go through my recommendations here to make your business more resilient by using some of these lean principles. Number one is to identify your desired results and KPIs within your business. So, for example, you need cash to come in the front door. What are the KPIs in terms of how much cash do you need in order to cover your overhead every single week? What is that number? If it's like $30,000, that's your KPI right there. So anything less than 30, you want to just keep an eye on that every single week and measure it relentlessly. Same with your cash flow. So your receivables, to be watching what is acceptable, for example, outside of 90 days. So for us, it's less than 3% is acceptable outside of 90 days in order for us to maintain healthy cash flow. So looking at each of the different departments or functions within your business, understanding what are the KPIs, just like the doctor looking at the KPIs for you, right? Your temperature, your blood pressure. So what does healthy look like and how can you measure it? And you got to be looking at this stuff like a hawk, especially during times like this. Every single week, you want to take the temperature and a pulse on your business. And the numbers that are out of whack, it's your job to figure out how you can get those back into check as quickly as possible. So understanding your KPIs within each of the functions, critical KPIs, each of the functions in your business, you want to identify those, measure and report weekly. So I recommend, and you can do this with like a simple spreadsheet, Excel or Google Sheets, set it up almost like a golf scorecard where you've got each of these KPIs listed out, and then you're just tracking week over week where you're inputting the number for each of these KPIs. So for example, let's say your sales each week, $30,000 each week, let's say. That's your target. What's your actual? And you would want to ideally conditionally format these green, yellow, red so that you can look at your entire business at a glance snapshot and the things that are red. So for example, if your sales actual was $10,000, but your target's 20,000, that number in that golf scorecard should be red. And if it's above, it's green. And the green stuff you don't need to put as much energy into. It's the red stuff that you want to drill down and diagnose and figure out what can we do in order to get it back into KPI, get it back into health. So measuring and reporting, simple scorecard. Again, the fancy stuff, sometimes there's too much noise. A simple scorecard, just like a golf scorecard, where you're just looking at it every single week and you're looking at the health at a glance of your business, 30,000 foot view. So measuring and reporting. This, by the way, comes from the principle, which is what gets measured improves and what gets measured and reported improves exponentially. So just by, for example, looking at your cash flow number each week, every single week, let's say on Mondays, you look at it every week, ideally with your team around you, is going to impact your cash flow just by the mere fact of measuring and reporting. It's the same principle that they use for those digital speed signs where you've got the flashing, here's you, here's your speed, and here's the target. Same thing, right? And even if you look at quantum physics, we're looking at the observer effect, where just looking at a particle changes its state. So this is what we're kind of invoking by measuring and reporting. Number 3, identifying the 80-20 leverage points within your business. So looking at, again, each of the functions in your business, looking at your team, your employees, looking at their activities and asking, okay, out of all the things you do in a day, what's the 20 that drives the 80? So what are the activities that you do in a day? Let's look at your sales team, for example. Maybe are you spending time on the right people? So for example, during a recessionary period, who are the 20% or your A customers that are going to drive 80% of the results, right? Or looking at what are the industries that are impacted to the positive versus the negative during a time like this that are going to be able to hopefully, the essential services, for example. So thinking through all of the leverage points within your company, marketing, for example, what are the 20% of activities that could drive 80% of the results within your marketing activities right now? And then again, you want to understand exactly the results you're after, how to measure them, and be just ruthlessly hold all of your systems accountable by measuring them every single week. Because in the absence of it, it's like watching a basketball game without a scoreboard. So if there's any time to have a scoreboard and pay really, really close attention to it, it's during a recessionary period. So understanding these KPIs, holding them to account, looking at all the activities throughout your business, understanding the 80-20 leverage points, and you want to pour your focus into all the activities, right? We got finite time, energy, money, resources. Put all your energy into the 20% that's going to drive the 80 as much as possible. And then identifying the essential versus the non-essential throughout your business and figuring out, again, what you need in order to survive. So at least you've got a plan B and a C, depending on how things play out in the world. What's the essential stuff that your business it would sink without? So that comes down to people on your team, the activities that they're engaged in. Maybe you can get away with right now shrinking down your work hours, for example, and having, during the minimized work hour time, only focusing on the 20 that's driving the 80, right? So getting creative, thinking about your leverage points, spending all of your time on, again, the 20 that drives the 80, measuring and reporting, looking at the KPIs within your business like a hawk, the ones that matter, the life or death KPIs for your business, treating your business as a system. And again, this is like a no blame environment. We want to keep your business healthy, and keep the heart beating and understanding what that looks like, just like a doctor would, so that you can keep it into survival mode. And again, you got to look at it like its own separate entity right now, treat it as a system, focus on the KPIs, identify the 80/20 leverage points, weekly measuring and reporting, and then understanding the essential versus the non-essential. So just a couple bits of advice. And again, we go through this. We've gone through the 2008 recession, and we came out stronger as a result. So these are some of the strategies that we employed within my business. This is how I'm kind of thinking right now. I hope this is useful. I'm going to, if you have any like questions, let me know in the comments below if this is useful. Feel free to give me feedback, and I'm going to keep releasing videos like this one. So hope it's helpful, and I will talk to you guys soon.